Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 287. I trust you folks are doing well, out there enjoying spring and clicking like crazy on lots of great stuff. Some of you folks spent the weekend, I know, at Sun and Fun. I hope you had lots of fun, even though some of the sun was hiding some of the time. You shared some of your photographs with me, and I'm grateful to see what I missed. So I thank you for thinking of me and being here this week on the podcast. Also want to thank my good friend at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. Have you been to their website lately, bedfords.com? They have all sorts of free online classes. They've got really great information and, of course, a killer inventory with great prices. Some of you have been emailing about the Moose discount code. Yes, it's still there. You have to remember to ask for it or enter it. And remember that you will not see it as you check out. It's not till the item shipped that you will see that money back. But boy, you will. As well as the fact that most people don't pay sales tax and shipping is free over $99. So thank you, Bedford and bedfords.com, for sponsoring and supporting the Moose Podcast. Well, let's just get up to question catch up. I said I was going to do this sooner, and I have been tardy. So let me get right to it. The burning question this week, I'm going to sum it up from Larry. And he said, image library, what is that? And then, what's it with backup? Do you back up your image library or not? And why not online? Great questions, Larry. Well, image library is an old term, and I'm old, and it has to do with, back in the day, we used to call it your slide files, and I just apply it to my digital inventory. That's my image library. As a business term, it's if you say image library, especially when you only have 2 photographs to your name, it sounds like you have a lot of experience. You've got a lot invested in it. So it sounds good, sounds educated. So that's just my digital files. That's my image library, both the raw files and, of course, the finished ones. Now, what's it with backup, online backup? I assume, Larry, you saw either my blog post or the follow-up Twitter feed on it. So here's the deal. There's a lot of things in life to worry about, and I just kind of decide what I'm going to or not going to worry about. Start off with in the world of photography when it came to slides, and I have 2 decades of my storytelling on slides, which no matter what I did, if the processor didn't have the best quality control, the slides would fade or would crack or pull apart. So then, boom, your image is gone. And since I went to digital, yeah, I've lost files. I've been there. I've done that. So, yeah, I back things up to an extent. As in, I've gone back to my old school ways where I have physical backups here in my possession. People go, why don't you have it at another person's house or blah, blah. Seriously, life's too short. If God forbid the house and the ranch were to burn down, it sounds cavalier, but I would just start over again. It's just a photograph. There's a lot of things to worry about. And why not online? I had a friend who's much smarter than me, and he's with most of you when it comes to, my backup habits. And he would really prefer to see my files backed up online, but it would take years and years for my 80 plus terabytes to transmit over and back up. And yeah, I know you could do it faster, but at the end of the day, it's just not something I worry about. I have it. I have survived before. Life goes on. That's really the key thing, the word life. So that's just my attitude towards backups. What can I tell you? That's all I got for you. And believe me, if it doesn't work for you, I more than understand. And that's okay. Another question came in from Dan. It came from the Kelby One Landscape 2022 conference I was part of. And I talked about white balance and getting white balance correct in the camera. And he said, Moose, I have listened to you talk many, many times about getting white balance right in the camera, and I just don't get it. Because as you showed in your class, you had to change it anyway. Well, Dan, that's kind of a good question. It comes down to, like I said many times, a thing called craftsmanship. But as if you listen to the wrap up with Scott Kelby, he talked about how when you set the white balance correctly in the camera, all of a sudden your scene, your photograph brightens up. It affects that. It's all math. It's a digital camera. It's taking our heart and our soul and it's making it into ones and zeros. And I wanted to give it as much information as possible. And to your question about I had to change it further in post, so the Z9 has a limit of 10,000 Kelvin. I would love it to go much higher. And that one photograph you were referring to was sunrise in Yellowstone, shot over the Madison River, heading towards the north there in the mountains. And I raised the white balance up to 15,000. And you could see in that class, you could see how instantly the whole image got brighter from changing the white balance. Now, with exposure being so critical, I've never heard anybody, especially people who do histograms, ever talk about the importance of white balance, when getting the exposure right. If you're going to talk about, highlights, well, you change the white balance to correctly, and then your highlights open up. So it's just, again, I'm old school, and I just got to get it right in the camera as best as I can with what I got for tools to tell my story. And again, if it doesn't work for you in your photography, you seriously don't need to do it. You just don't. My clients really and they seriously pay for my getting it right in the camera and delivering them the best possible quality. I can't look them in the face and say, here's your picture. Oh yeah, by the way, I totally screwed up the camera, but I fixed it all in post, so give me that money. I just can't do that. It just doesn't work for me. So Perry asks, great question. He says, Moose, what's with you and iCups? I saw your post for the Z9. I don't get it. I can understand that, Perry. That's true. Sometimes I wonder. So these mirrorless bodies, the Z6 II, Z7 II, Z9, all of them, they have a very minimal eye cup. So my eyebrow, the way my skull is built, which I'm sure is thick as cement sometimes, that just when I pull in correctly to that camera against my head for proper hand holding, it hurts. Now the eye cup that you saw on the blog post, that's what used to be called a teardrop design. It came out eons ago with the F2. I never was a fan of it at all. And it's got to be tell you the honest truth. I'm not, like I said in the post, it's temporary. The problem is that as soon as you go vertical, that teardrop design is instantly a pain in the butt because it now is hitting your cheek and what have you. So Patrick tweeted on Twitter that he found one for the Fuji camera. Still need to modify it, and it's 3 times the price, but it's round. Now, it's not as good as my old DK3, which I love that eye cup. But it is circular, allows me to go vertical, horizontal. And what's it with me and eye cups? Well, they're a shock absorber. I handhold and shoot a lot, even at slow shutter speeds, even with really long lenses. And that rubber eye cup, so I can pull that camera in tight against my eye as I'm now hand holding correctly, bringing my elbows in, got my palm facing skyward, my left hand. It just permits me to get those sharp images. And again, it comes down to craftsmanship. It comes down to the fact that you can't fix sharpness in post. That's why I have this thing for eye cups. So Perry, it's a great question. And if you're having a hard time finding one for your Z9, the answers, what you saw in the post is about it. Other than that, and the one for the Fuji that Patrick Comas tweeted about. Great questions, though. I appreciate the questions coming in, and I appreciate you guys wanting the answers. That's even more important. So Kurt, he he had a long email, and basically I boiled it all down to autofocus. I'm so confused. Yeah, I can understand that, Kurt, because boy, you just feel like you've got it figured out for your camera body that you own, and then wham, technology, doggone it, that son of a gun, catches up, gets better, and it changes our autofocus. So I understand you're being confused. I am working on, and I should say this, I've been working on an autofocus video for a while. I've got it. I start it and I don't like it. I scrap it. I've started, I don't know, half a dozen times. I really hope that I can get it done this week, that I can answer your question as succinctly as possible. So, Kurt, you're not alone, and I understand it, and hang in there. And I know it's not much help, but what I always do when I am confused with autofocus systems, I again go back to old school, because I keep telling you I'm old, and I manually focus. Yeah, boy. All right. John emailed a number of times. A couple days prior to the Z800 being officially announced, and then a couple times after the Z800 was announced. And John says, the Z800 millimeter lens, this is f6.3, is it too good to be true? Well, first, I have not shot with it. I've not seen the lens. I have talked to some folks who shot with the pre-production model. Not that that gives me any great insight. Is it too good to be true? Well, John, let me give you a couple things. When the 300 PF came out, 300 f4 PF, this has been a while now. It's probably been, 5 or 6 years maybe? That really itty-bitty small 300 f4 lens, really incredibly sharp, a beautiful lens, easy to handhold. And I had a number of folks back then ask if it's too good to be true, especially for the price tag. Then we had, 3 years ago, the 500 PF come out? People go, wow, 500, 5.6 PF lens. Look at the price tag. It's got to be too good to be true. And now, as we know, 500 PF, amazing lens, does a great job. So now people are asking, like yourself, John, the Z800 PF lens, too good to be true? I wish I had an answer. I can tell you that I am not buying one. And a number of people have asked me if I'm buying one. I'm not buying one. I already spent $18,000 on the 800 5.6. I mean, I was all in. I got one of the first ones to come in the country. I paid that big price tag when it first came in. It's lower now. And I tell you, it's an amazing lens. It paid for itself within the first year. It is just outstanding. So being a business guy like I am, since that lens has been bought and paid for and it's paid for itself, I'm not going to get another 800. I am an 800 junkie, had them since day one. But the Z800, people go, well, it will go right with your 800 or your Z9. Well, the 800 5.6 does as well with the FTZ, and FTZ is an empty tube. Somehow I've got to help the world understand that it's just a tube that fills up the air gap. It has nothing to do with anything else. But anyway, now, with that said about the 800 f6.3 PF lens, I have highly recommended, and I know at least 11 of my friends who have already ordered paid for it and ordered that Z800 f6.3. So I would highly, highly recommend that if you do not have that long lens and you need that reach, then this is the lens you need to get. At $6,500, I mean, you could buy 3 of those for my lens. Isn't that crazy? What if you own a six? And here's the caveat I've been getting. I own a 600 f4. Should I get the 800 PF lens? I don't know. I've had all these, possible combinations, and then should I sell them and buy the Z800 PF lens? I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, that question kind of sometimes drives me nuts because you're assuming that 1, I know about a lens I've not seen. 2, I know about you and your abilities and your shooting style. And 3, I have some crystal ball that answers all the questions. I don't. Now, like I said, I'm an 800 millimeter junkie. I love that lens. I love that focal length. Doesn't mean it works for everybody. It's f6.3. What happens when you put a 1.4 or a 2x on there? Yes, you get more reach. A lot of folks understand that when you get more reach, your angle of view is narrower and narrower. Your ability to get a sharp picture gets less and less, not more and more. Because any movement in the lens at all, it's out of focus. If you really want to check out how good your focusing is, your handheld or your long lens technique, get a long lens like 1600 millimeter and shoot it at 20th of a second. If you get a sharp picture, your technique is dead on. Most people get that kind of reach. They get out of focus pictures. They say, oh, it's the lens. It's no good. No, your technique sucks. Okay. So sorry. You get that Z800. It's a great lens. Your technique, maybe not so much. Is it too good to be true? I don't think so. Not on the past track record for Nikon's PF lenses. I'm going to finish off with John's question. He says, Moose, everybody's calling the Z9 a game changer. Is it? Well, first of all, that term game changer, it drives me nuts. Because is everybody's game the same? Is everybody playing the same field? I mean, if it's all of a sudden, we're playing golf, we're all in the same, cart, and all of a sudden one person gets a brand new technology of a ball and a brand new kind of club, and all of a sudden they can smash that thing 1,000 yards, that would be a game changer. Now, the Z9 is a spectacular camera. Of all the cameras I've shot in my career, this is by far the best tool I've ever had. It's my favorite body. And it has me constantly challenged almost every day. How can I up my game as a photographer to challenge this camera? It is really that spectacular. Is it a game changer? It depends where you're coming from as a photographer, like anything else. But really, more importantly, who cares? Seriously. Somebody else's game changer might not be a game changer to you. If you're photographing a coin collection, I'm sorry, I am picking on you coin collectors again. If you're photographing a coin collector, the Z9 is not a game changer because you could photograph your coin collection with anybody you want, and it's not going to be really pushing any of the skill level of that camera body. If you're talking about photographing something that's moving, whatever it might be, people, critter, mechanized, yeah, the Z9 can deliver things that, even my good old faithful D6 could not do. So it depends on where you're standing, whether it's a game changer or not. And that's really important. And that's really sums up all these questions in one answer. It really depends on you, the photographer. So hopefully this helps. I know it's cleaning off my notepad of questions. Get out there and shoot. Enjoy spring. And remember to make every click your story.